Thank you, gentlemen, for having me. My name is Justin Meram, born and raised in Michigan, from two parents who descended from Iraq. And I would just be always working in the backyard with my brothers and playing 1v1 because, growing up with four boys in a house, we were always playing soccer in the living room and breaking stuff. And my mom was going crazy over all her little antique stuff. And that's where, the passion grew and the competitiveness, just being the youngest and always having to fight for your way, basically to even eat at the dinner table. So it was just always competitive, and that grew on me, and I used it later on in my career when I faced a lot of adversity. Up until about U14, I was always playing up about 2 years, and I felt like that really just helped me think quicker, play quicker. And then as I started playing my own age, my quality was really there. But I was just always working on my footwork. That was like the one thing I knew was important to me. The way to play, with the ball or without the ball, and movement and passing. But it wasn't easy. Like I still remember, I think I was probably the best soccer player in Michigan up until like 11 years old. And then everyone started getting so fast and so strong and so big. And I just haven't hit that growth spurt. And um, I just was so disappointed. And there was times where I wanted to quit because I started getting labeled as lazy, and it was so hard for me to like take in. But I wasn't fast enough yet. I wasn't fit. Like, when you get strong and fast, you can run for days. And it's just, I would beat guys and I would be so creative, but it was just horses were running always around me. And, it was always like a struggle for me. And that's where sometimes I feel like the American mind just looks at athleticism and not learning the game at a younger age. So those guys might have been from 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. They might have been better than me because they just kicked the ball, run fast, and boom.
They had the physical components. They didn't have the soccer skill.
They didn't have the soccer skill, but in America, sometimes it's just that physicality takes over games, and you still need it, right? But they only relied on that part of their game, so they never developed. And I always say developing foot skills is like learning a language. You're going to learn it a lot better when you're younger, and you're going to have that feel with the ball. And that was me, the way I can use the ball in my body to get around player. So once I hit my growth spurt at like 16, 17, and I really came into my body and my speed and my quickness, it all came together. And that's why I really feel like I was overlooked and kind of was labeled as like this lazy player. But it just wasn't lazy. I was just giving the maximum effort that my body could at the time.
Right.
And I felt like coaches could only see it one way. And that's what is really disappointing, for me. Now that I'm older, and when I look back, it's, we need coaches that need to, really develop players for the game, and knowing that they're going to grow into their body and take off. It's never easy. Like, there was a point where I just didn't want to do it anymore. But the thoughts of, my dad coming from Iraq at 17, not knowing a language. He's the oldest of 8 siblings, and having to work on the highways, in Michigan, and go to night school to learn English. And, he would just always talk to me about, not giving up, and, do it for yourself until whatever you're satisfied, that's good enough for me to keep going, but not to just give up because they don't believe in you, or this guy doesn't believe in you. You still have the ability. And I was still showing a lot of moments of brilliance that would, kind of keep me engaged. But there was a dark period when I was younger, and it just was like, is this, everyone's getting picked by these colleges and I'm, not playing much here. But I still stayed with it. But just having, kind of my father really just pushing me not in a way that maybe some parents do now, where it's overbearing. He was just like, don't quit, and give it all you have, and then you can leave the game happy. And the one thing I'm very thankful with my parents is, being foreign a bit, they weren't talking to the coach, or they weren't trying to get me to play here or there. It was all about me and myself and my ability. And you have to fight adversity, and I feel like I fought adversity so many times, and that's a reason why I'm still playing the game, today at this level, because there were so many times early in my career, middle of my career, even now, that I face it. But I've always felt it, and I've always like had different adversity in my life that I know how to handle it. And some kids that, if they're spoon fed or everything's been so perfect, 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 and then they get to the next level at the collegiate level, and all of a sudden there's a guy from LA who's in your spot, and you're from Chicago, and now you're battling against guys from all over the country, and now how are you going to handle that, not starting and playing every minute? So for me, it was just having that chip, but also just not giving up and seeing where kind of life takes you. And life took me to a crazy park in Scottsdale. Even when I got to Michigan, this part of the story that's going to blow your guys' mind too is, after my junior year, I'm at the University of Michigan, right? So I have to go play PDL to keep me fit, keep me sharp, get ready for my senior year. So I go to Michigan Buck, not good enough. So here we go again. The cycle continues. So I'm not good enough to play for the Bucks, but I'm playing at U of M. Okay, maybe I'm not Gary's cup of tea. Fine. Then I go to the Kalamazoo Kingdom. They're like another PDL team. They thought I did well at the training. They said, he's okay, but not for us. So now I have two PDL teams that cut me after my junior year. And I promise you guys, this is why I'm still playing. Like, there's so many chips. I don't know how many chips I can put on this shoulder. Dennis Murray. There it is.
There you go.
I said, Dennis, I said, I'm going to do something that I need you. I need you so bad that I'm going to take a summer class. My senior year coming in, I don't want to go to the bars. I don't want to drink. I don't want to eat bad. I said, we're going to train, and we're going to train, and I'll do the stuff on the ball. You get me strong. You get me fit. I'll do the stuff on the ball, and we're going to train every single day all summer. And I'm going to come back to senior year, and I'm going to dominate. He said, whatever you need. So that year, I didn't go home. I didn't go to Michigan. I stayed in Ann Arbor. All these guys are playing with the Bucks. They're getting games. They're getting time. I'm not getting nothing. I just dedicated this whole summer. I said, I have one shot going to my senior. I have one shot to make it, and then I can live with it. I'll go into dental school, and I'll become a dentist and call it a day. And that going to that senior year, I was fit, passed all the fitness tests, something that it's always been hard for me, right? I worked so hard. Going to my senior year, and I just dominated. We win the Big Ten, first time ever with Bernsey to win a trophy at University of Michigan, go to the Final Four, led the tournament in goals. I scored like the last 12 games in a row. And from there, I get picked to, I get a first round draft pick. I get signed by Nike and all that. But I had to sacrifice it. And that's part of, every soccer player is you got to give something up if you want to get rewarded. You can't live this lifestyle and think you're just going to get picked. You have to give something up. You got to fight for yourself and your belief. And so for me, it was, I took Gary Parsons and the guy at Kalamazoo, and I put a lot of fuel from these guys and what they did to me. I said, okay, I'm going to prove them wrong on draft day. And, my uncle was very close with Gary Parsons, the one that trained me. And that's what's funny is just nobody really believed in the talent and what I really had. And I knew I had something special, but they just always overlooked it. And, here I am today playing my 12th season in MLS. It's a good question. It's a complex question for me, because there's so much to the game. And my biggest thing, obviously everyone says, don't give up and work hard, and those are fundamentals. But my thing really is, to believe the voice inside of you. There's so many outside noises, and I feel like nowadays a lot of those noises come from the parents. They put a lot of things into the kid's head, whether they put, pressure, or they feel like, oh, you're the best kid, I don't know why you're not playing, and this coach or that coach. And my advice to parents as well is, let your kid find his way himself, because only he's going to get himself out of a situation. Yes, you can, you got to be there for him and help him, and, caress them when needed, because we're still kids, but my advice to the individuals, the kids that aspire to be pros, is, to believe within yourself and do all the necessary things to get you there, and work harder than the guy to the left or to the right, whether it's after training or after school. And the ball was always at my feet in my backyard with that PVC pipe goal, and I tell you what, I was shooting left foot, right foot, dribbling in the cones, out the cones, by myself with a brother. And all those little moments, the hours that I spent, there's a reason why my ability on the ball is what it is today. And it's not that these coaches in MLS taught me that. Coaching, you can't, there's a lot of things in this game that we played that you really can't teach, and it comes from within the individual and the ability. Yes, coaches have a big part of teaching the game and decisions and spacing and tactics, but having the ability on the ball to be a creative player, that comes from within. And the amount of hours that you spend daily to perfect your craft, and everything else going forward will kind of take care of itself, as you get older and play in these next level.
What advice could you give parents in this journey?
And just watch and be there for your kid. You don't know it all. These officials are, out there reffing youth games. Let them do. They're not perfect. You're not perfect. Your son's not perfect. A lot of times, I have nephews and nieces who are 17. My nephew and niece, they're twins. They're 17, and I tell my brother all the time, all you do, you go and you support them. You give them you give them the opportunity. You're a great parent to drive them to this tournament, you take them, that's doing your job. Now it's on them to figure it out on the field, and as they learn from their coach, and you let their coach, whether you like the coach or you don't like the coach, you let them figure it out. I didn't have all the best coaches, but you know what it did for me is, now I know, as you get older, I know I take this from this coach, I take this from that coach, I take this from that, and you bring it all together. But the minute I just say, oh, my dad hates this coach, yeah, this coach isn't playing me, this isn't the right coach for me, those are all the wrong things all you're putting in your son or daughter's head is excuses why they're not good enough, excuses why they're not playing. So my advice to parents, that anyone that watches and listens to this, you give the opportunity for your kids, you put them in their position to, play with their club teams. And that's your job, is to get them to A to B, to get them to all the tournaments. But you let them figure it out on themselves, because that's the only way they're going to grow and mature and really handle themselves, at the next level, because it's never going to be easy, and it's only going to be on that person to figure it out. And, and I hope they take that advice. The first thing is, I'm proud of, who I am and how people speak of me. All my coaches, still stay in touch, from Mike Pantaleone to Burnsy or Snapey or Grassy, the coaches I've had in the MLS. Just, relationships mean so much in life, and to be a good person, to be a good teammate. That's what makes me really proud, to be in so many different locker rooms, and to always, find a way to, be a leader in different ways. That'd be the first thing. The second thing that, second of the third, I would say my ability to be a playmaker and a goal scorer, to be well-rounded. I just recently hit 50 goals, 50 assists. I think I became the 25th player in MLS history to achieve that. And so for me, I've always in my life found so much satisfaction with setting up my teammates, And sometimes my parents nowadays tell me to shoot more and sometimes be more selfish. And I said, you were never like that before. Don't change now. This is how I am. This is how I've always been. Um, so to hit that achievement was something that I thought was pretty special for myself. Um, and lastly, the longevity of my career and to still be playing at a high level, my 12th season this year. I started, 75% of the games, and this was the third most minutes I've played in my career, and I'm 33 years old. And to do that and lead the team in assists and chances created on this season, just for me, I'm really proud to know that I've taken care of my body. I've been mentally and physically strong throughout the years, and able to keep up with the young bucks on the team. So those three for me really stand out. Um, there's obviously little moments, some goals here that I'll never forget. Some moments with Columbus, with Atlanta, um, but and with Real Salt Lake. So just for me, those three really stand out of throughout my career for sure. But you never judge someone by what they do for work. This is my job. This isn't somebody else's job. This is what you know God gave me these talent and with my hard work to get me here, but this is what I'm supposed to do in my life. It doesn't make me better than a plumber or a teacher or someone that drives a school bus. Everyone has a duty in life, and if that's your calling, you treat that person with the utmost respect because they're just working a job just like you. And a lot of people look up to us, so it's also our duty and our responsibility to educate the youth, but be an inspiration to them as well. And that's just the only way to live. That's the only way I see it, and I hope others can kind of piggyback off my feelings towards it.